Now we're asking if it's ever OK to call children fat. 020 7862 2222. Boris Johnson has risked a backlash by calling the kids of today, in his words, fatsos. In an interview for a report on public health, the former Prime Minister said kids don't play enough anymore, which he blamed on a fear they would be targeted by pedophiles. He said he would probably be shot for his comments, but with 1 in 8 toddlers and primary school children in England now obese, maybe we've got to be blunter, Phil.
I mean, come on. I mean, what? It's good to insult children, to bully children, to call them fatso. I mean, utterly... And this is a man himself who's overweight. This is a man... I mean, is there anything he says that's true? The guy who promised us 300 million a week for the NHS?
Oh, for goodness.
Sorry, that's what he promised us, Carole. I know you don't want to hear it.
Over it,
that's what this man promised us. Everything he says is a lie. This is ridiculous. He had a moment of sanity. When he got COVID himself and nearly died, do you remember this? He came out of hospital and realised that he had COVID because he was overweight and was determined to do something about it. He did for a couple of weeks, and then he was captured by the food industry that makes billions upon billions of pounds in profits for selling children rubbish food. That's why they're fat.
OK, let's just have a look at Boris Johnson. I think playing football here, is it? Let's just see this famous moment. So he is the largest person on the pitch here, but that's not surprising. The rest are children. He's going to go in a second, I think, for a tackle. He looks all right there, really. I mean, in terms of his weight, I don't know. I don't know where he's going to... He's just ambling now. Oh, OK, that was... I don't know what that was.
Well, thank God he didn't crash into them. I mean, I think the word fatso is not the right word to use.
No.
However, we cannot demonise the word fat because fat is the condition. Fat is what it is. The dictionary definition of fat is having a lot of flesh on one's body. It's natural, oily substance. That's what fat is.
Let's have a look now. I want to show you the clip of Boris Johnson doing the tackle because we found the right clip now. Hang on.
Well,
this is what happens when you're overweight playing with children. OK? Here he goes. No, we still haven't got it. OK, third time lucky, guys. Right.
The actual point now, the actual point that we're talking about is that the point is we've tiptoed around this problem for so long for fear of offending or upsetting people who are overweight or obese. And the consequence...
Why
can I finish? You keep on asking me if you can finish.
Well, you used to be overweight.
Yes, and I know why, because I ate too much.
And you were happy, you would not want to be called fat, but you did call
yourself... I was called fat,
well, you called yourself fat.
There's a difference between fat and fatso, isn't there? There's a difference between saying someone is fat or overweight, rather than insulting
Phil, have you just listened to what I said?
In the class...
She did say fatso.
That's exactly what I said. I said fatso is not good. Being fat is a condition. And we tiptoe around it as a nation. And because we tiptoe around it, not want to upset people, we now have an obese
That's not
nation.
the reason why people are overweight. I'm sorry, Carole. The reason is because we're selling them crap food.
Talk about
and the industry is making billions from it.
Linda's in Devon. Do you think it's OK to call children fatso?
I would never consider that acceptable morally or practically. I was a health visitor for 24 years, looking at children's growth and families' well-being. And if a child was putting on too much weight and not very active, we would approach it in a diplomatic way. You have to have the parents on board.
Let me ask you a question, Linda. If a child constantly runs out into a motorway, do you approach that in a diplomatic way as well? Because I wouldn't.
No, I think you're deliberately taking issue with me. We would always let people know that their child was gaining weight too quickly and we could help and we could get them checked by the doctor at a young age in case they had a rare...
But why have we got, Linda, I see kids now who are a shape I haven't seen before.
Exactly.
And I'm not meaning to be disrespectful, but I look at it and I think... What's happened, Linda?
Food industry.
I think what...
Stop it! It's not the food industry. It's parents allowing their children...
We've got a fight in a different part of the pub, Linda. Don't worry.
Carole, what's happened is we are now living a sedentary life, as children. Parents are worried about their children's safety, being out on their own.
So true.
There's a lot less activity.
That's what Boris Johnson said.
What Boris said, yeah.
Yeah, but listen, I had flu once and I couldn't get out of bed and I lost a stone. So I don't think it's anything to do with sedentary. I really don't. It's all to do with diet.
What you eat, and we're selling them ultra-processed food, which is rubbish, which is...
What do you mean we're selling them?
I'm
You're
sorry,
not
Carole,
compelled
just
to
finish
buy.
my sentence
Well, no,
here.
because no one's compelled to buy ultra-processed
food.
food.
That's with high in additives, high in sugar, which is highly addictive to people, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Vegetables are very cheap. Vegetables are cheap.
Yes.
So is fruit cheap.
Yes.
So is fresh fruit. You can make.
But that's not
the problem
making
with a lot of
children
families
fat.
is now in the poorest areas of this country, the fast food outlets have rocketed, and people are buying fast food not because they can't afford it. No, it's not addictive. It's laziness. You buy fast food because you can't be bothered.
It's convenient.
Okay, Sheila's in West Yorkshire. Is it okay to call children fatso? That's where we started.
Hello, Jeremy Love. How lovely to speak to yourself.
And you.
There's a lovely, God bless you, young guy. There's a lovely gentleman on the panel.
Phil Jones.
He's got such compassion. Now, I don't think it's right to call children or adults fat. I know some people say it's meaning to be affectionate, but it can be very detrimental. I was a very large little girl, still am quite a large lady, and I'd just like to say God bless everybody, especially my loved ones, because there is still so much love in the world. And I'm not sure what the gentleman on the panel's called, Jeremy. The gentleman with thank you, love. Oh,
you sound lovely. I must say, I hope you've got a nice Christmas plan, because you could spread a lot of love and joy.
That is so lovely of you, sir. I'm actually homeless at my age. I'm in my 60s. A council found me somewhere to stay, and it's just the compassion that people show that keeps people going. And there was a lady on who was speaking about a young lad who stayed in bed on games. Now, I heard that the young lad was in a boarding school, and perhaps he's feeling lonely and he's not being able to express how he feels.
That's going to kick off here, I think.
That is going to kick off here, because that's not what his own mother was saying. She was saying the polar opposite of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's two takes on boarding school. Either you're very lucky or it's prison. I don't know which it is. You know, it's a form of child abuse. I don't know. Sheila, thank you. I hope you have a lovely Christmas. It's so nice to hear your voice.